Welcome back. In today's video, we are going to be comparing 25-foot tape measures to see which one has the best standout. Now, I bought an assortment of brands and types, so we're going to compare those and we're going to see which one can go the furthest before they pop. Let's get into it. Now, when I'm selecting a tape measure, the standout is one of the most important features because of these three reasons. First reason, the durability. If a tape can extend, 15, 16 feet, that means it's a better build quality. That means it's going to last a little bit longer. Tapes would tend to snap at about 10 feet, 11 feet. Those bends tend to break and snap a lot easier, so it just shows the build quality. If you can extend it pretty far, that means it's a better quality tape measure and it's gonna last you a lot longer. And as carpenters, we don't want to run through tapes every single month or every couple months. One that can last a long time is definitely going to be more bang for your buck. Reason number two why it's important to have a good standout is because as a journeyman or a DIYer, you're not always going to have a second pair of hands, and so it's nice to be able to extend over the ground, to be able to bump against a wall or hook lumber. A lot of times on construction sites, you are going to have cords on the ground. You have to get past the down plates of walls, or just having people store things everywhere, so it's pretty cluttered. So having the ability to extend past all those objects without being interfered with is nice. And again, having the ability to hook lumber, especially if you're cutting larger boards, 20 footers, 16 footers, if you're at a cut station, to be able to extend it past where you're at the saw and extend it and be able to catch that lumber to get your marks is a lot nicer than hooking the lumber and then running all the way back, you know what I'm saying? So it's nice to be able to extend that, from position. Makes you more efficient. Things are going a lot faster, a lot more convenient. So that's reason number two. And the last reason is pretty simple. It's just safety. It's having the proper tools for the job. A lot of times if you're working off ladders or you are working near handrail, it's much better to have a tape that has a better standout, because I've seen guys overextend themselves, fall off ladders, have the ladders fall back on them, then break their ribs, have them missing teeth, being out of work for months and sometimes years at a time. So it's much better just to buy a better quality tape from the beginning and have that do the work, opposed to trying to overextend yourself with your body. Putting yourself outside of your ladder is really unsafe, especially if you're trying to do layout or you're working near a fall hazard. So just buy a better quality tape, and that's what we're going to do this test right now. So the experience is going to be pretty simple. I have 10 tapes here. You can buy these tapes at either Home Depot or Lowe's or local hardware store. I even got some more obscure brands like this Komelon and the Pro Carpenter, and I also got the coveted Tajima 25-footer. Now I got this for a special subscriber because he wanted me to test this tape out. So we're going to see if that quality from the chalk boxes extends to their tape measures too. So it's pretty simple. Each tape is going to get 3 opportunities to see how far you can extend it before they pop. I'm doing it 3 times because maybe it bends a little sooner than it would normally. So you're going to get an average out of these 3. Pretty self-explanatory. We're going to see how this goes. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start with the Stanley Fat Max magnetic one. Now we're just going to extend this right here. Hopefully you guys can still see in the shot. Like I said before, I'm going to keep it inside my body. I'm not going to extend it further than I would if I was on a ladder. So just kind of go slowly. We're at 11'4". The next tape is going to be the Milwaukee wide blade. Like I said before, you want to extend inside your body, but also kind of go slow because you don't want no jerky motions to prematurely make it pop. Right now we're at 10 feet, 11 feet, 12 feet, 13 feet, 13 foot 11. The next tape is going to be the Milwaukee magnet. This one has the light on there. I don't know if that's going to actually help or not, but we're going to see. Now this blade isn't as wide as the wide blade one, so we're going to see if that has any big difference when it comes to how far can it be extended. We're at 11 feet right now. This got the 12'6", so about a foot and a half shorter. Next up is the Husky, 7 feet, 9 feet, 10'3". Overall, the worst performing one so far is the Husky. Next is the DeWalt. Now, like I said before, if there's a brand that I didn't feature in this video right here, let me know. I'll probably test that one out too later on in a secondary video. So let's go. Starting off, 6 feet, 9 feet, 10'9" in about 3/8. Now, one thing I do like about some of these tapes is they do have this little spot right here where you hold your finger, gives a little more stability, so I do like that. Next is your tried and true Stanley Powerlock. This one's nice. You see it's a lot on a lot of concrete jobs. So let's see how far this one goes. This is obviously probably the cheapest tape out here. This has a lot thinner blade, so we'll see if that comes into play. 8'1". So this is obviously right now so far the worst performing tape so far. Let's just get it over with. This is the Tajima tape. We're gonna see if that quality extends like I said before. Let's see. Now this blade doesn't feel as thick and it doesn't feel as durable, so I'm kind of already questioning how far it's gonna go. Right now it's at 9 feet. 9'7". Let's go 9'7". Now let's go with the Stanley Fat Max. This is the Autolock, so it's one where we can just extend it and it stops by itself. So this blade's a little bit wider, so I think it's probably one of the more promising tapes right here. We are at 7 feet. We are at 10 feet. $12'10" is when it snapped. Now this is the Komelon brand. This isn't a very highly known brand, but it is one of those tapes that has, it's an engineer tape, so we're gonna see if that has any factor in it. So let's go. The quality's pretty nice. It does feel pretty good. This snapped at 8'7". Not great at all. And last but not least, we are gonna go with the Pro Carpenter. Now this is one that has all of the markings on there. I don't know if you can see that. It has all of your fractions on there. Again, and this is nice, but I would definitely advise you, if you are just starting off as reading your tape measure, do not buy a tape with the markings on there. It's gonna handicap you, so make sure that you only get this if you already have those skills ready. So we are at 4 feet. We are at 7 feet. 8'7". Now as you can see right now, the Milwaukee wide blade, this one right here, is obviously in the front right now because that wide blade is definitely helping it extend further. You also can feel in the quality when you are extending your tape out. You know what I'm saying? You can kind of feel when it feels like it's going to want to bend or pop, and this one definitely had a lot of security. Like I said before, having that ability to put your finger right here and hold it, it gives a lot more stability. You don't want a lot of movement, especially if you are extending into like the 10, the 13 feet range. It starts to get a little more tricky, so having that ability to be able to hold it with your finger right here, like a trigger, is nice. And so I definitely think that added to the length of the standout. So we're gonna see. Now I'm gonna do the rest of these numbers off camera because again, it's kind of boring just watch me extend the tape. So I'm gonna get these numbers right here and then I'm gonna tell you what the averages are after that. Right back. So as you can see from the second round, the wide blade is definitely the clear favorite right now. It got even longer, 14'5", that's 6 inches longer. So obviously it's the clear winner right now. The Stanley Fat Max lock, which I thought was gonna do better, actually went a little bit worse. And so overall, right now, the clear favorite is gonna be the Milwaukee wide blade. We're gonna give one more test to see if that continues. Now for the last showing, clearly the Milwaukee wide blade blew it out the water. That wide blade definitely does help extend it further. And just overall, it was the most consistent one with the average of 14'3", and that's just from the body. That's not overextending yourself past. So say if you're in a safe place like on the ground and you're trying to extend it, you probably can get an extra 2 feet possibly, especially being able to hold it right there. So overall, this is the clear winner. Now second place being the Stanley Fat Max Autolock. This also has a pretty wide blade. The blade is probably as wide as the Milwaukee, and I like the fact that when you do extend it, it just stops by itself, so that is nice. But that feature does kind of get worn out as time goes on, so it's nice when you first get it. Its last outing was 13'3" for a grand total of 12'11", which is still a pretty good number. And in third place is the Milwaukee, the magnetic one with all the technology, the light on it. This one got, on its last attempt, 13'1" for an average of 12'8", which is a pretty good number. Overall, I was very surprised how good the Milwaukee tapes did. Overall, my biggest disappointment is going to be the Tajima tape because it didn't even get past 10 feet but one time, and so that's clearly a lot lower. It got 9'7", 9'11", and then finally 10 feet for an average of 9'10". That's like 4 feet shorter than the Milwaukee, and it's fairly expensive, so I was disappointed on how good this one did. I expected a lot better, but again, maybe some brands only do certain things better, so you know, take that with a grain of salt. Now lastly, let's talk about some of the lower performing tapes like the Stanley Powerlock and the Pro Carpenter. These are a lot cheaper. These are like the Harbor Freight, or just like, you know, brands that you don't expect that much out of because they have like one thing they're good at, such as, you know, working with concrete. If you get concrete and gunk in these tapes, they're more like disposable, more like the IKEA of tape measures, so you don't expect that much out of them, and again, they don't perform that well. So they are what they are. If you want a cheap tape that's going to take a beating and then you toss it and throw it away, then get these brands right here. They're not meant to be as versatile because, again, they don't cost as much. So overall, pretty good experiment. Milwaukee knocked out of the park when it came to the standout. Stanley Autolock held its own. Overall, I do like these the best. The Milwaukee does have a weird like shape to it, so it doesn't fit in all my bags the same way, so it is what it is. Overall, good experiment. I appreciate you guys for watching this long. If you guys have any ideas of videos you guys want to see, or if you guys have any tapes that you want me to try out, or any tools you want me to try out, let me know in the next one. Peace out, guys.